of guys becoming the ground, and they explode. You'll hear them scream for about half a second, and then that's it. The electricity will just consume their body. They have to shut off power. I used to work at KB Homes. I was training to be an electrician apprentice for a while, but I had went to the carpentry side of KB Homes. But I was watching them, and I've never seen. They're pretty good about the high end. Yeah. One of the things we're going to be working around is a lot of conduit. See, that's conduit right there. That box right there is a junction box. Inside of there are just some wire nuts. If water gets inside of there and comes out, these are just wire nuts connecting that line right there, which is going to the ceiling, to this line right here, which is coming down. So these wire nuts are in there. So we're spraying water, whatever, it gets in there from the plastic. That's going to pop. And when those pop, they'll pop, it could end up bad. Some of them will pop loud and bad enough that it'll get in your eyes. Something will get in your eyes. Some of them will, if you're up there and they pop and you're on a ladder, you're coming off that ladder on your back. It's just that easy. So that water that we're working around and the stuff we're going to be working around, especially this old stuff, basements, whatever, that's going to be pretty dangerous.
So how we can prevent this from happening?
Keep your rubber boots on, keep the plastic on, and be aware of everything around. If you see it and you know it's there, ask the competent person, hey, is this live power? If it's live power at that moment, you got to take the precautions necessary. Make sure your plastic, your gloves are plastic. It doesn't turn, so you won't turn into a ground. Keep the water away from that. You know what I mean? Make sure that plastic's right. If you're scraping above something like that and you know there's live power below you, don't let that scraper drop. Don't let your tool drop and go through that plastic, because the moment it does, that electricity will come in, because it'll find a way. Water and electricity are some of the most unique things in the world. Okay.
You mentioned those two, and we have to use those too. But when I asked how you can prevent this from happening, we're going to use the water. We have to use the water, but we don't have to use the power from the building. You're going to bring your own power. So we have to shut off the electricity that is inside the work area. And that's going to be done by either your supervisor, your competent person, or someone that is qualified or certified to do the work. If you're not certified, if you're not qualified to do the work, to shut off the electricity, you're not messing with the electricity. But you have to make sure, the job is to make sure that has the electricity from the building, there's someone already, either a certified electrician or someone that is qualified, has already shut off the power. And that's going to be done on the main electrical panel.
What type of generators are we using then?
We're not always use generators, because we got to be able to pull the power from somewhere else.
Outside?
Somewhere, a different source. So you actually can have distributors inside the work area. A certified electrician will place a electrical distributor inside of the work area. Like those tortugas. That's what they call it, turtles. Where you can connect all your power. And those are already, most of this already come with the GFCI. If it's not, you have to make sure that you connect your GFCIs always. GFCI is going to save your life. And can you explain how this works, the GFCI works?
Here's your regular test button. Here's your reset button. You're going to plug in this end to your power. Here's all your extensions. This right here pops. If it pops, if you're doing whatever and the power stops, okay, it's going to stop here. You're going to come over here, take a look, hit the reset once. Power should go back on. If it doesn't, there's another problem, and you're going to have to stop what you're doing and find the other problem. These are waterproofed. They're safe. Test it here. Your test buttons. Here's your reset button.
So one of the things, one of the things you want to make sure when you use the GFCI, any extension cord that you connect to the GFCI, make sure that it has the ground cable.
Has what?
Ground cable, yes, the third cable.
Here's the cable. Here's the ground right here. This is the third one right here. You know, a lot of them, even at your own house, you might want to take a look at. Because if it doesn't have that, it's a fire hazard. Because there's no ground. No ground means you got live plugs.
Okay, so what's going to happen whenever you use any electrical equipment, or even just the extension cord, there's any difference on your current. Okay, if there's any difference between your positive and negative, that difference will go back through the ground cable and will interrupt electricity. This is not a breaker. This is better than a breaker. This is faster than a breaker. It will interrupt electricity. Okay, right away, almost like 1/4 of a second.
It stops it before it even gets to the breaker. Because if you pop the breaker, you got to go back and check. If you fry the line, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So when someone asked me earlier, I think it was yesterday, before yesterday, what this does, this saves your life right there. Okay. Never go into an abatement area, a regulated area, because most likely it's going to be at a wet environment, and use any electrical equipment without the GFCI. Okay. I was told by one of the supervisors once that this GFCIs are too expensive. That their company, they don't use those because they're too expensive. Whenever you hear that from a contractor, an employer, they don't care about yourself. They don't care about your health. It's not a good company to work for, honestly. No. If they look the price before your life, they don't want to be there. You know, trying to find someone else, because they're not you know, they're saving money on your safety equipment, or you know, they just look their profit. They just want to get their money, put it in their pockets, and that's all they care.
You'll find these same ones in your bathrooms at home and in your kitchen. And the reason you have them in your bathroom and your kitchen because of the water. Same thing with working around. Bathrooms have a GFI in them. All kitchens usually have a GFI right there where you plug in. As something pops, water, whatever the case, grease, oil. That's what it's for.
Can you explain it again? How's that AC and DC works with electrical when it comes to
electrical current is like AC/DC. AC is a alternating current. It's the current that stays consistent all the way to your main power. It's always going. Like this box has one all the way through. So you got your alternating current, and then you have your DC, which is your DC is a direct current. It's going to each box. To each outlet in this room is a box. This is direct current. This is a switch lane. So you're coming through, you got your direct current's going to go to here. Your AC is going all the way through. It's continuous. That's the difference. AC stops here, through switch lane. Comes back on. Alternating current still connected to this. AC will kill you. AC doesn't change. Whether you're in the way, whether you're not in the way. It'll turn you into the ground. And it's an alternating current. The reason it kills you is it holds you. It turns you into that ground, and it stays going. It doesn't stop. There's no switch like a GFI to stop it from connecting to you. That's when you die. Nothing you can do. You just can't be around it.
What if that happened, right? And somebody like stuck a GFI on you or something? Would that like?
Can't stop it. Once
just saying, like, you know,
once an AC current grabs you, it grabs you. And if it's over 260 amps, it's got you. You can't even move. Just like a taser, when the cops tase you, that's a DC. That's a hit direct DC.
That's what profile is, guys.
Yeah, it's a DC that hits you. They hit you with a direct current on a taser. That's a DC. Okay. In that taser is the same thing as a GFI. It'll turn itself off. Okay, they can't just keep pulling the trigger on you. Hits you once, that's a wrap. But it's that shocking, it's that current that holds you. Alternating current kills you, DC will stop. Just be mindful of that for the rest of your life.
When I was younger, I touched the wall and I couldn't stop it. It was like quick.
Yeah, it'll grab you. Yeah, if you grab the
right
one.
I couldn't pull away right away. I thought I'd be able to. I was young, but
yeah. Most of the time they have it set up to where they're running together AC/DC, and it's designed to pop you off. You know, most currents through everything else, anything, you know, over 120, it's designed to pop you off. You know what I mean? It'll pop you right off. It'll explode. But if it's a direct alternating current, it's going to hold you. You know, but most everything, your washer and your dryer have the most power. Those are designed to pop you off. So you'll go to grab it, you'll get a shock from hell, and it'll just poof, it'll pop you right off, and that's because of the breakers in the back.
This is like a vibrating.
Yeah, it'll make your hair stand up.
No, that's most of we covered. They covered. Appreciate that. It's gonna be indoor, but I understand that we do a lot of outdoor too, and we do a lot of demo, and there's always gonna be a wirings too, suspending lines.
If you ever see a power line and it's aluminum, just get the fuck away from it, because the aluminum lines are high power lines coming from the main line. That's coming from the street. Those currents do not stop. They will not stop. They will grab you and kill you. It's an aluminum cable about this big, and it'll have about 7 strands of aluminum inside of it. You ever see one of those? Just get the fuck away from it. No, just grab your kids and go for a walk, call somebody, because trees come down on power lines all the time. And you know when you see them lines that keep going like that and keep hitting, that's them aluminum lines. They'll just keep going. They'll melt little by little. But if they're around water, and that water will go straight to you. Yeah. Water always finds a way. Electricity always finds a way.
You're an operator too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what's whenever there's you guys do demo on buildings and residential dwellings, whenever there's any overhead power lines, what's the normal procedures? What you normally guys do?
If there's overhead power, you got to check it and see where it's at. You can't operate heavy equipment around power lines. The state has to come in. You know, they either have to direct it or whatever. The biggest problem we run into is when you're demoing stuff like we'll be doing, there's underground cables. Fiber optic cables, if you ever see they're small, they're just cables. But fiber optic is just light. That's all it is. So if you're doing demo and you hit that fiber optic cable with your shovel, you've just took out the entire internet and everything else for everybody else, and they're probably going to sue your boss because they're all lined. Electric cables this thick. You hit one of those with your shovel, they're 18 inches they're required. It's 18 to 3 feet. 3 feet is gas. If you know you're working in a trench and you see the big lines like this, gas lines. It should say gas lines, should have red tape before you even get to it. But you hit it with your shovel, or you guys are using a backhoe and you see a power line, shut the backhoe down. Just wait, because if you hit that power line, it'll take a 3,000-pound motor grader and shoot it about 500 feet in the air, killing everybody within about 200 feet. That's the type of crater a gas line from the city will do. So you got to be careful with shovels, doing anything like that on the ground, especially on demo.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of demo on your industry, and there's going to be a heavy equipment and run, and obviously when you ask me about training like the scissor leaf, forklift, and some of this, indoor, your employer will, then anything that needs to be done outdoor where you had to do a trench, there's training where you have to, number one, notify before you even do any work. Yeah, you have to notify, and then find out exactly different lines or pipes that will be underground.
Pipes, water. They bring in.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's kind of cool because they'll bring in a drone, and these drones come in, and they'll just hover right there, and they'll locate all your lines. Drones.
Wow.
Yeah, they usually, like big projects, they'll use helicopters. They bring the helicopter in to locate the ground. But nowadays they got drones that'll come in and they'll locate your line, and they'll give you a printout of exactly where your lines are. And they'll tell you 18 inches deep, 3 feet deep, you know, and which one's which ones, and they'll tell you who they belong to. Because everybody owns one of them lines. You know, everybody owns one of them.
It's never exact though.
Never.
10 to 12 inch buffer on where that line could actually be.
You got to locate it, and you can't locate it with a shovel. You have to get high pressure water, and you have to come in.
Locators are always off though.
Yeah, you got to come in. We got to come in with the shovels. You can take off just the first layer right there. Then you got to get high pressure, like a power washer. Then you come in. You got to spray all the dirt out, until you find your lines. Because you can't use anything to puncture them lines. You even nick a gas line with a shovel, and they got a call. They have to come in, trench it out, and patch it.
If there's any way they can do the lockout, tag off, shut it off before, or shut off? Lock out, tag out.
They don't lock out and tag out on gas lines and stuff like that until either the construction started, you know, and if you damage something, yeah, then they'll come in, they'll lock out and they'll tag out everything else. So they'll lock out all the gas lines, everything out, and tag them all out. Yeah. But if you're just locating, they're okay because you're just using water.
Okay. Any questions? I think it was really good.
Welcome to the Ball and Salt Show. You guys feel free to talk to us anytime.
Hey guys.